Hello traders, today is August 8th, 2019. It's currently 7:55 p.m. Chicago time. And in this video, what I thought I'd do is just kind of take a look at a few markets. And we'll just have a little chat here as I analyze them and give you my opinion as to what I think is going to happen. But overall, just kind of an educational video so that you can gain some tidbits as to how to analyze a market. Now, we're looking at the Australian dollar right now, and this is the daily chart. You can see up here where my mouse is that it shows Australian dollar, and we have the D clicked, which is a daily chart. Now, for those of you familiar with my videos, you understand what these red diamonds are here, and that represents Fdates. And in this case, these are daily Fdates. And one of the things that I noticed right off the bat here is that we have this dollar sign Fdate here, which is a higher probability turn date. And it just nailed the very bottom of this big drop here in the Australian dollar that occurred yesterday on August 7th, 2019. And then today we had this run up and it hit resistance on one of these 45-degree squares. You can tell they're 45-degree time price squares because it has the 45 up here. Now, if you don't understand time price squares, I would highly recommend you pick up my book on market forecasting secrets. There's a chapter there, at least one I know of, that deals with these time price squares. But anyway, this here, we can see that it hit resistance here, but it is significant where this occurred within this time price square. And that's also, of course, noted in that book. Right now, we're at the mid square point. We have this dollar sign Fdate here. And if you look at the area right behind it there, you can see this red zone, this rectangle. There's actually two rectangles. There's a short-term one, which is the darker red here you see because they're overlapping. And then this is the longer-term one here. This is like an 8-week, or I should say 8-day, because it's a daily chart, 8-day. And then there's a 4-day here. And you can see just hit the very bottom of that 4-day oversold zone. And then it shot up today, or shot up yesterday before the close, and then it shot up today. So it confirmed a swing bottom here. Now the question is there like any significance to this daily low? Well, then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to my weekly chart, and I'm going to notice that there is also a weekly Fdate. That's this red diamond right here, and it's listed for last week. Now, if you look, the previous bar, 1 day early, or 1 week early, sorry, these are weekly bars. 1 week early did not produce a weekly swing, and this did not produce a weekly swing here, meaning that this bar here is the only weekly bar that can possibly fulfill the prediction made by this weekly Fdate, which makes the probability very, very high that this week here, this weekly bar, will become a weekly swing bottom. Now, giving you some basics, in case you are not familiar with what a swing is. Hopefully you've watched enough of my videos to know what those are, but I'll tell you, since this is an educational video, I'll share that again here. A weekly swing is when you have a price bar. For example, a swing bottom is when you have, let's say, this bar right here. You notice that it has a lower low than the previous low. That's the first requirement, is that a weekly bar has to have a lower low than the previous bar to be a possible weekly swing bottom. And then to be confirmed as a weekly swing bottom, the following bar or bars must exceed its high and not its low. The low must hold until the high is taken out. That happened here. That's a swing bottom. Here's a swing bottom over here. This bar here is a swing bottom because of that bar there. And here's a swing bottom right there. That's a swing bottom right there. There's one right there. There's one there. And there's one there. So we're expecting this one to hold the low and for prices to go above this week's high, which means that after this week, you want to look for prices to keep going higher and not lower, and that's the predictive value of these Fdates. So this is saying, hey, the probability is 85, 90, 95% probability that this low is going to hold, which, by the way, you can see it is in a weekly oversold zone in its own right. It's going to hold, and that prices are going to start going higher, at least for one more week minimum. So that's great for day traders to know what's the next week going to bring. So here you have the weekly, and here you have the daily that are in sync with each other, and they're all both screaming that, hey, this low should be holding because that's the weekly low, right? Assuming that tomorrow prices don't move lower, then that's going to be the weekly bar for this week. So I would start looking for prices to move up. So if you're a day trader especially, you can start looking for your minute charts and looking for an opportunity to go long the Australian dollar, playing off this low here as expected to hold. And that's great for a really controlled risk and good probability for some profits. Now let's go and take a look at the British pound chart, for example. Now here in the British pound chart, we can see that we're in an area here where this bar right here, this weekly turn date has no weekly turns yet, but this price bar right here, which is last week, is still holding its low. Okay, and we can see that this is only one bar off, so it still has the potential here and very high probability that it could produce a weekly swing bottom. But then it's immediately followed by this other one, so you have to kind of wonder, what is this? Is going to be a 1 week pop and then it's going to go back down again? That's quite possible. So this was kind of a little dangerous to be playing off here, but if you're playing the very, very short term, you can play off of this bottom just like the Australian dollar because we have this oversold zone here and we have this expectation for a weekly swing bottom to be happening at this time. Another interesting thing too is that when we look at the seasonal tendency of this market, you'll notice here that we have this week 8-9 and then this week 8-23 that have down here the peak valley. Okay, so you can see, now I just messed it up. Let me go back to it. There it is. Okay, you can see it's darkened in here. Now this is a provisions charting software. It's only available to our premium members, but this charting program is just worth its virtual weight in gold because it just has all these tools that have great predictive value. But anyway, this is telling us, hey, high probability that we're going to have a weekly swing bottom here. And also, we're also noticing that we're about ready to do a convergent divergence between this MACD and this DMS indicator here. It's not quite there yet, but it's getting awfully close. So anyway, we can see the weekly here is primed up. We see the daily here, by the way. This daily Fdate, we can see that market started to rally up right off this daily Fdate. Then it started pulling back after it hit resistance here on the 21-day EMA. And now it's back down to this next Fdate, which has an opportunity to produce possibly a higher daily swing bottom than this one right here. But if anything, it's happening within this daily OS territory, which is really a good thing because it tells us that there's a good chance that prices could start moving up higher. And that would certainly go a long ways to confirming a weekly swing bottom here on this weekly. Now let's just go here to the Canadian dollar chart. Now this one's an interesting one here. You can see this Fdate right here on this daily chart nailed this big old top here. The prices came on down. Then you have this dollar sign Fdate right here, and we see that prices have confirmed a daily swing bottom and have moved up. The only thing I don't like about this chart is that this swing bottom here did not happen inside an oversold zone. It's not a requirement, but it certainly gives me a nice warm fuzzy feeling when it does happen, because it just gives me an indication of lower risk opportunity when you see that happen. Otherwise, it's almost like anything can happen. But the markets are definitely turning on my Fdates here. The predictive value of Fdates are still nailing the markets, as they have been for 23 years now, and they're still doing it today. Now, if you look here, we got, well, what is this? We got 8, 7, and over here we have, what is this? 731. So if I go over to the seasonals, let's see what was happening here. Okay, so 731, it definitely did something on there, and you can see we had the 67 here. And then we had, what was this? We have this 8286, and that was, well, look at that, 8285. Okay, close enough for government work right here. So those nailed the seasonals. And then we come over here and we have this 812, which is in the future. Wonder what that's going to be. That's 812 there. And so it matches the Fdate. So it's two different indications pointing to this 812. So there's a future prediction for you, because today is 8/8. So here's an 8/12. Stand by and look at the Canadian dollar come within a day of 8/12. So like start looking at it at 8/9, which is a Friday, or 8/12, which is a Monday, because something good is going to be happening for that day there. We go to the weekly. We'll take a look at the weekly. Now, the last weekly swing top happened way up here. You can see the overbought zone here. We see that the weekly top occurred over here. And what we also see is that was predicted by the weekly turn date. That's this diamond right here. So that nailed that. So we were expecting that to happen. Then prices came down, and now we are within 1 bar of the next weekly turn date, which you see is this red diamond. So you have to just be within 1 bar of it for it to be a possible turn. And the other thing too is you can see I've applied Fibonacci retracement here. And let's move this over a little bit. You can see that it hit that so far, and that's what we saw here on the daily. That's what this is hitting here, going from this low to this high. That's a 62% pullback. And so if you look on the weekly, that's where that's happening. So hey, that's a possibility. Now again, just like over here, you know, I get a little concerned when it's not in oversold territory. So let's just say that the risk meter is a little higher, but it's definitely doable. But anyway, so there you go. You can see that that's definitely at support for now. And we are going to be looking for a weekly swing bottom to be occurring anytime within a bar of this Fdate here. As far as seasonals are concerned, it seems to be an agreement, because here we see 8/16, that's next week, and that's that bar right there. That's next week's bar. This is 1 week. This week is 1 week early, and then this is next week. So we're definitely in expectation of a weekly swing bottom at this time. So that's something good to know too. All right, well, there's 3 currency markets for you guys with a little bit of education thrown in there. I hope you learned something from it. You can certainly learn a whole lot more and join the membership. Take advantage of the premium membership, and you can use this provisions charting software with the seasonal data report, a square timer, and the whole bit, the overbought, oversold. This thing here is, I'm seriously just worth thousands and thousands and thousands. And it is a wonderful tool to use. Our premium members use it for free. And of course, if you're interested in learning some of the market secrets, well, obviously there's my book. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.